All right, folks, if I can have your attention, please. If I can have your attention, please. We're going to go ahead and get it going again. Welcome and good afternoon to the 2025 Golden Shovel Awards Luncheon. My name again is Tim McMurtry. I serve as Executive Director of the National Association of Minority Contractors, or NAMAC for short. And I'm excited to be your MC for this afternoon. Can't get rid of me just yet. Appreciate you all this morning. We're going to go ahead and keep the party going on this afternoon. We have a tight schedule, so we want to get right into the program as you enjoy your lunch. It's celebration time, you all. Celebrate good times, come on. It's that time. While I am not part of the OBEC team, I'm truly inspired by the impactful work of this program and thrilled to help guide discussions and engagements during the summit. The DBE program has long been at the forefront of creating opportunities and fostering growth for disadvantaged businesses, ensuring that economic opportunity for all is not just a value, but an actionable priority in Wisconsin's transportation industry. Now, I know that with the new administration coming in, there's been a lot of disruption, a lot of headlines, and folks are concerned. But we have been assured from WisDOT they will continue to do everything they can to help support diverse businesses. And so whatever iteration that looks like, we will continue to march forward. Well, this year's theme, Beyond Borders, Exploring Interstate Perspectives and Opportunities for Business Expansion and Collaboration, invites us to think bigger, connect deeper, and envision a future where the boundaries of geography and industry are not limitations, but gateways to growth and collaboration. Today's summit is a testament to the transformative potential of partnerships, innovation, and inclusion in expanding opportunities for disadvantaged businesses. Through efforts of WisDOT and all of you all here in the building today, we are building a stronger, more connected network that stretches across state lines and across industries. Today's summit is jam-packed with valuable insights, practical tools, and opportunities to connect with industry leaders and peers. And you all are to be applauded for your engagement thus far. Keep up the good work. It's a chance to expand your network, learn from experts, and to explore new avenues for business success. Now, this afternoon, we have an exciting program ahead. We'll begin with remarks from today's luncheon sponsor, HNTB. We'll also hear updates from WisDOT Secretary Christina Boardman, recognize excellence through our mentor protege and Golden Shovel Award presentations, and conclude with a crowd favorite, our keynote speaker coming back for part number 2, the one and only Judge Derek Mosley, who will share insights on the invaluable skill of understanding what we do not know. Well, all right, folks, without any further ado, welcome to the stage 2 rock stars from HNTB. Miss Brenda S., because I don't want to butcher the last name because I didn't get the pre-thing, and Darius W., our generous lunch sponsor, to the stage. We are honored to have them today. I'd also like to commend HNTB for their steadfast commitment to the success of our disadvantaged business enterprises and the DBE program. They continue to lead by example, demonstrating their support through both words and actions, and they have been champions for DBE firms for a long time here. Give them a hand as they come in their own way. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Brenda Shainfeld, and joining me is Darius Wright from HNTB. HNTB is a proud sponsor of this event. We are very excited to be here, and we enjoy this event very immensely, so thank you for having us. HNTB is a national consulting engineer prime contracting firm, and we've been doing work in Wisconsin for over 60 years. And We've been partnering on some of the largest projects in Wisconsin. We're very excited for that success. And we've worked on projects from Northeast region to Southeast region to Southwest region on some of the largest projects in the state. And we're also moving into other northern regions, and we're working on some projects in North Central, and we have staff working in Northwest. So we're excited to be all across the state of Wisconsin and partnering with Wisconsin DOT. We've been working on these complex projects, but those projects have been successful because they've had strong DBE partnerships. Our most complex projects on I-41 in Green Bay area and on I-43 by the Ozaki-Milwaukee County line, those had to have a strong partnership with those DBEs, and we've been working with over 20 DBEs in the past 5 years. Oh, I turned it off. I better not turn it off. All right. So how do we go to the future? HNTB is committed to the future. We want to grow. We want to encourage more and more people in our industry. We need more workforce. Workforce is one of the biggest challenges everyone in our industry is seeing. And how can we improve our workforce? How can we get more people in our industry when more people are retiring and leaving our industry than what's coming forward? And we're doing that by partnering with professional organizations and being involved in many industry events with our youth, like Future Cities. We've been working with high school groups, having them come to our group. And so the call to action that we have is to get more youth involved in our industry. Get the message out there. Why is this so important? Near and dear to my heart is WTS, so Women's Transportation Symposium. And HNTB is a proud Employer of the Year for Wisconsin in 2024. And we're really excited about how much time and effort has gone into working with the youth, providing scholarships for more people to get into the transportation industry. We've also been able to host an intern event and get more excitement and knowledge about what we do and why this is a great industry and why the growth is here and why we need more people in our industry with transportation. I keep hitting that turn it off. We're also working with the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, and Javier Ratana has been a strong advocate of hosting intern events with our intern events and with MSOE and our other universities to get more interest, because the workforce issues that we're seeing really needs more underused groups to be involved. So if we need more people, we need to tap in where the people are, and there's a lot of people out there and a lot of talent we need to bring into our industry. So MSOE, they did visit our office and we enjoyed hosting them. Recommend that everyone in this industry get more involved with our youth and get them excited about transportation. With that, I hand it to Darius.
Thank you. Yes, and along those lines, I've had a fantastic career in infrastructure, and we want to encourage our future youth to continue to pursue careers in infrastructure. There's a ton of opportunity, especially with people retiring at the rate that they are and the replacements not quite there. So this is an awesome opportunity. One of the ways we want to do that is something I want to introduce to the group today. I'm going to steal some of Tim's energy here. I want to ask everyone to say COMTO. COMTO. Okay, maybe some of you have heard of the organization, COMTO, but it stands for Conference of Minority Transportation Officials. I'm going to take a moment to kind of explain COMTO. The vision is to ensure full access for minorities in transportation while preparing and positioning leaders for rapidly evolving global opportunities. The mission statement is to ensure opportunities and maximum participation in the transportation industry for minority individuals, veterans, people with disabilities, and certified MWDBE businesses through leadership training, professional development, scholarship, internship funding, political advocacy, partnership building, and networking opportunities. The organization was founded in 1971 at Howard University and was created to uplift the lived experience in the transportation industry. Next slide. Excuse me. HNTB is a national supporter of the organization. It's based in Washington, D.C., or Arlington. On the screen is a QR code for you to get more information about the organization. But currently, the organization has over 3,000 members and 40 chapters in the United States and Canada. Programs and events include a national meeting and training conference, something called CITY, which is Careers in Transportation for Youth. It's an internship program that many of the chapters participate in. And there's also a national scholarship dollars in the amount of $100,000 are given out annually to young people interested in our industry. And the chapters give out over $500,000 locally. So, next slide. So one of the things that HNTB would like to do to encourage interest and careers of minority students in the infrastructure industry is to start a chapter in Wisconsin. So this is kind of a call out or an announcement. So we're going to be, in the future, forming a chapter for Wisconsin. There's a chapter in Michigan, there's a chapter in Illinois, there's a chapter in Minnesota. I think there should be a chapter in Wisconsin. So I'm looking forward to support from others in this endeavor. Thank you.
We'll give another hand for Brenda and Darius with an insightful presentation. I hope you all are taking good notes today because it's been a ton of fantabulous information that has been shared. And I do believe we need a Compto in Wisconsin. So thank you for the plug, Darius. We appreciate it. Now, please join me in extending a warm welcome to the one and only secretary of this fabulous department, Christina Boardman. Secretary Boardman was appointed by Governor Tony Evers in September 2024 as the first woman to lead the Wisconsin Department of Transportation. That's worth a hand, you all. Ow! Diversity. Diversity. In her role, she oversees one of the largest state agencies with more than 3,200 employees and a biennial budget exceeding $8 billion. That's $8 billion with a B. Before her appointment as secretary, she served as WisDOT's deputy secretary and as an administrator for the Division of Motor Vehicles, the DMV, where she spearheaded key initiatives, including the implementation of Real ID and the department's role in Wisconsin's voter ID law and helping those DMV lines go a little bit faster. Also, a little editorial commentary there. Her leadership spans decades of public service, including experience with the Wisconsin State Assembly. WisDOT supports all modes of transportation across the state and includes state highways, local roads, railroads, public transit systems, airports, and harbors. The department also encompasses the Division of Motor Vehicles, the DMV, serving about 50,000 customers each week. Wow. And the Division of State Patrol, which enforces law and ensures safety for motorists statewide. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Secretary Christina Boardman. Give her a hand as she comes.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Brenda and Darius, for not singing while you were up here. I was getting a little nervous as Tim was getting us all into the room that was a requirement, so thank you for breaking that cycle. Also, many of your DMV needs can be taken care of online, so you don't even need to go to the office. So thank you for the plug on DMV. So thanks, Tim, and thank you so much to all of you here today for this celebration of our dedicated partners in the industry. Before I get started with my remarks, I do want to share regrets on behalf of Glenn Fulkerson, our FHWA Wisconsin Division Administrator. Unfortunately, he can't be with us today. He's okay. It's normal with a change in federal administration. There's some transitional efforts that are underway, and during such a change, it is not uncommon for a federal agency to halt on public communications while the new office is getting established and getting brought up to speed. So that's exactly what has occurred with FHWA. Thus, Glenn will be absent on the public communications circuit for a short while here. On all topics, it wasn't topic specific, so just wanted to let you know that Glenn is sorry that he can't be here and just the reason for his absence. So thank you for your understanding on that. It's really a pleasure to be here today. It's a pleasure to recognize those who are going the extra mile on a regular basis to help us reach our DBE goals. Thank you to the WisDOT team, Tandra, her whole team here in coordinating this valuable summit and for working day in and day out to strengthen our DBE program. Thank you to all of you as the attendees, the partners, sponsors for your collaboration today and really throughout the year as we work together to carry out projects that Wisconsinites can be proud of in their communities. And the Secretary's Golden Shovel Awards, we have some beautiful awards up here, are the highlight of this annual event because it gives us a chance to recognize the great work of our partners and raise the bar for all of us in holding us all to a higher standard. And while we have requirements to ensure that our contracting process is equitable, we know that we can even do better than that base level. And with your help, we've been doing just that. So our DBE program continues to evolve to meet the needs of the industry and our communities. And I'm proud to see that together we've consistently exceeded our goal for the percentage of federal dollars going to DBE firms. And one of our most effective DBE efforts is our mentor-protege program. Prime consultants and prime contractors and consultants are paired up with DBE firms to share expertise, advice, experiences, and this really does create stronger DBE community, it grows our emerging businesses, and it supports critical business relationships. You'll hear from some of our mentor-protege pairs in a few minutes, and we really encourage all of you, no matter what your role is, to think about how you could contribute to this program and benefit from this great learning opportunity in both directions. We've also expanded our efforts to regularly meet and engage with the teams that are working together to deliver the construction projects in Wisconsin. And hearing your feedback and providing an opportunity for all of you to connect helps us to ensure that our construction contracting process is as fair and as equitable as possible. And so we've also launched a new stakeholder advisory committee to encourage DBE participation in the new I-41 reconstruction project in northeastern Wisconsin. And this committee serves as a liaison for communities along the project from Appleton up to Green Bay. And the group is going to help us develop strategies to cultivate a diverse workforce in this region too to get the job done. And we have another big project coming up, the Blotnick Bridge, and so we want to use this same approach to support workforce needs as that bridge gets started. We are working with our partners in Minnesota DOT to develop trainings, develop support for the businesses that want to apply for that interstate certification with MnDOT to work on the Blotnick Bridge project, which will be a project for many years to come. We know it can be a challenge to find a skilled workforce to deliver the many projects that are in progress throughout Wisconsin. And that's why finding solutions like we're talking about here today is one of our top priorities here at WisDOT. As we work to support our own workforce, we aim to work together with our partners to develop programs that support the industry's needs. And our highway construction skills training program is another one that helps us attract and maintain quality workers for projects in Wisconsin. The HCST program relies on partnerships with industry contractors, trade organizations to train workers, help them find employment after graduation. And I'm happy to share that 140 people graduated from this program in 2024. We are pleased to receive a federal grant late last year to expand the HCST program to serve northern Wisconsin and our northern tribal communities. And so we're looking forward to developing this new partnership to evaluate the HSCT program, find opportunities for improvement, and encourage more women, minority, and underrepresented individuals to train in highway construction. A strong workforce and your collaboration is so essential to help us meet these DOT goals and the WisDOT mission to build a safe and efficient transportation system for Wisconsin. Safety has to be at the center of everything that we do as we improve all modes of transportation. Every project we deliver brings us one step closer to reducing crashes and injuries on our roads. And so I know many of you may be wondering about the future of our projects and programs, and we are closely following any changes at the federal level. We are going to continue to work together as we receive guidance. But we want to assure you that WisDOT will do everything we can to continue to prioritize small businesses and DBE firms. The people in Wisconsin rely on us for our partnerships, the dedication to improve transportation services in every corner of the state. And that's why we're here today, to recognize those who are doing so much to help us reach these shared goals. So thank you so much in advance to the award winners and your commitment to what you do every day. And thank you all for taking the time out of your busy jobs to be here today, celebrate these partnerships, and learn how we can grow together in the future. So let's get on with the celebration. Thank you.
All right. Are we having a good time? Are we having a good time? A really good time? All right. I know that I am. So thank you all. Thank you for once again for joining us. This is truly the one of the exciting parts of the program, right? The awardees where we get to announce the winners of our Golden Shovel Awards, and those who have supported us in the industry. Primes, DBEs, we have quite the assortment of winners today. But first, I just like to thank Secretary Boardman for that warm welcome and for continued support of the Office of Business Opportunities and Equity Compliance. Truly, your leadership and your dedication to creating opportunities for disadvantaged business enterprises are what are vital, are vital to the success of programs like this summit and other things that we do, and truly we're grateful for your partnership. Thank you. As we continue with this afternoon's program, I'm excited to introduce the WisDOT Mentor Protege Program video. This program embodies our commitment to fostering meaningful relationships between established firms and emerging DBEs, creating pathways for growth, knowledge sharing, and success. This video that you are about to see serves as both a celebration of the program's impact and a call to action. Whether you are an experienced mentor or an aspiring protege, I encourage you to reflect on how you can be a part of this transformative initiative. The video.
This is something very important, working together with smaller companies and building more companies in the competitive markets. To have another company in the pool with the increasing workloads, it's a great opportunity for everybody. I guess my biggest goal is to be able to be like that company that another prime or general will look at and be like, I want to work with them. That was a big step for us to learn how to write up like scope of work in our quotes and our estimates and doing those bidding numbers and trying to feel confident about sending that out and not thinking, like Did I forget something? I had done some different work with like Dave's Bacon Wages and stuff like that, and it's a little bit different when it's just, you know, like your the two owners that are doing it, but you still have to do the paperwork, and it was paperwork that I have never seen, you know, and I'm like, you know, how, like, what is this? What do I do here? How do I know? Like, and so then she was able to help me and show me, like, in a bid where, like, you're gonna find those Davis Bacon Wages and, you know, that it's gonna be on site and things like that. There's always something to learn. And I'm actually learning a lot about different aspects of the industry versus just the project management portion of what I do for my work. Helping her get the resources that to further her company the best is helping me be more well-rounded in my position as well.
The Mentor Protege program is WisDOT's way of building businesses, building small businesses to participate on highway construction projects. So it's all about building relationships. That's the biggest benefit for both DBEs, primes, and WisDOT. So it's a win-win situation for everybody involved.
How's it going? All right. Working with DBE companies, many of them I found have certain expertise in certain areas. So, you know, the key is linking up, you know, maybe your project needs or what you're specifically working on with, you know, the right company. We've been aware of it and looking for the right opportunity to be part of it. You can learn from anyone and everyone, so I just think it helps give you a perspective. So we joined up with LT Leon Associates. We met them at one of the activities at the DBE conference. It's been a little bit over a year since we've been officially in a mentor-protege relationship with LT Leon.
Jacobs has helped us with the NOI proposal process, so we've served as both a sub-consultant and a prime as to put those proposals together, and they've helped us every step of the way. Having a resource like Jacobs to be able to walk us step by step through that master works process has been really helpful. I would encourage other businesses, whether it's construction or engineering consulting, to take part in this program.
I'm happy to share the knowledge I've gained with others coming behind me.
Now it's American Tour of our Cares. This is a call to action for our DBEs and for our primes to consider participating in WisDOT Formal Mentor Protege program and discover how you can pave the way for your business to grow. Thank you.
So you heard that call to action. Myself and Roz, could you stand, start the video, please? We will be receiving cards or information from whomever would like to participate. Please, please, please see us. Thank you. All right. So now I have the privilege of presenting a certificate to our mentor protege pair that we have. We have presented certificates in the past, so since last year we've added on a new mentor protege pair. And so I like Secretary Boardman, Deputy Lowry, Secretary Lowry, Administrator Burkle, and with some potatoes in his mouth, if Deputy Administrator Matheson could come as well. Please join me here on stage. Today, we'd like to recognize the new partnerships that have formed under the Mentor Protege program. These partnerships exemplify the power of collaboration and shared expertise in building a stronger, more inclusive business community. And so how this will go, recipients of awards, we'd ask that you would come to the stage and shake hands with these fine leadership of WisDOT, and then also pose for a photo, okay, as you receive your certificate. So with that, we will ask that Ebony Jennings of Jennings Asphalt, if she would come. She is the protege. And then we have Lalonde Contractors, who is her mentor. If you would come also, please. He's running late. Oh, okay. Well, we will take a picture with just Ebony. We'll get this right, y'all. All right, one more round of applause. Thank you, Ebony. And so now we want to move on to honor the excellence of contributions through the Secretary's Golden Shovel Awards. These awards recognize outstanding individuals and organizations that have gone above and beyond to make a difference in the DBE community. Their hard work, innovation, and dedication have made a tangible impact, and we are thrilled to celebrate their achievements today. And so, but first, I would like to recognize the nominees. The panel, the selection panel, we had some hard decisions to make, right? So each of these nominees, in their own right, they have made some great contributions to the DB program. So as I call your name, nominees, if you could stand, and then we will announce the winners as we move forward. Adam Skinador of ANASA. We saw him in a video earlier. Thank you, Adam. And if you could remain standing, we want to clap for everybody all together in as well. Bruce Spann of Spann and Associates. Century Fence, Century Traffic. There we go. Chris Arrowwood of Michaels Road and Stone. Craig Anzac of Anzac Construction. Elizabeth Deacus of Sheet Piling Services. Hoffman Construction Company. Integrity Grading and Excavating. Kim Lobdell of KL Engineering. Matthew Grove of WTBA. Michaels Road and Stone. Monarch Paving Company. Nathan Swanky of Michaels Road and Stone. Paul Ndon of the DBE program. Renard Morris, Forest Services Corporation. Roberta Gutierrez, yes, Southeast Region Director. Short Elliott Hendrickson. Super Western. Tramil Anderson Trucking. And Zignego Company. Let's all give them all a round of applause. Thank you all so much. You may be seated. So now we will announce the winners. The first one to be announced is Mr. Bruce Spann of Spann and Associates. As he's coming, I'll tell you why he was selected. He started his business in 2006. He is a DBE consultant. He has been involved in all mega projects in Southeast Region for 19 years. Working as both a sub-consultant and also as a prime consultant. He faithfully attends our DBE stakeholder and committee meetings, even serving as a committee leader for Southeast Region DBE Stakeholder Advisory Committee. He provides valuable insight to help the DBE program grow and expand opportunities, especially for consultants. Please, once again, for Bruce Spann. So we'll move on to our next recipient, who is Century Fence. All right. Century Fence is a prime contractor who has partnered with the Southwest HCT program to provide employment opportunities for program students and graduates. They have an active role in the Southwest HCT classes by providing classroom instruction on employers' expectations, demands of industry, and skills training. Century Fence, we want to thank you for your support of the HCST program, and congratulations on your Golden Shovel Award. Okay. Next, we have Kim Lobdell of KL Engineering. And Scott Kramer will be receiving the award on her behalf. Shiva founded the company KL Engineering in 1991, which is a civil engineering firm specializing in infrastructure engineering, design, and consulting services. She's a former DBE, but now a DBE support services consultant. She's held that role, and she's provided invaluable help for the DBE program down through the years. Kim retired in December of 2024, and we know that KL will continue to be a valued partner for the DBE program. Thank you, Kim and KL, for your career in the industry and support of the DBE program. Congratulations. Our next one, I was gonna, well, you don't want to show preference, so I won't. I won't do that, but this has become a very integral part, I believe, of the DBE process that we have. And our next recipient is one of our industry partners, Matt Grove. Matt Grove of WTBA has consistently demonstrated strong support for the DBE program, effectively collaborating with prime contractors to explore additional opportunities for program enhancement. He communicates updates and changes to the program in a timely and efficient manner, serving as a valuable resource for contractors and DBE firms alike. Matt's proactive approach to seeking clarity ensures a comprehensive understanding across all stakeholders. Matt, I'd like to thank you for your collaboration and support of the DBE program and for cascading its value to your TBA members. This has contributed greatly to our success. I am so proud of the relationship we are building. Congratulations. All right. Next, Renard Morris of Ford Services. Someone will be accepting on his behalf. Renard has been the HCST Northeast Region Coordinator for well over a decade and has demonstrated a constant commitment to program improvement and curriculum development. This commitment has led to a high percentage of women and minorities entering into high-paying jobs within the heavy highway construction industry, as well as creating access to registered apprenticeships. Renard's everyday work and dedication has truly made a difference in many people's lives. Renard, thank you and congratulations. Share that with him on our behalf. And the final winner for today, oh, nope, got two left. The last two. So the next one is Super Western. Super Western. So Super Western is newer to the WisDOT work. In federal fiscal year 23 and 24, they had 0 GFE requests. Y'all gotta clap for that one. But even more remarkable is their DBE achievement. In federal fiscal year 23, they had 5 bids with the average assigned goal of 5.4%, and they achieved 14.97%. That was an increase of 9.57. But not only that, federal fiscal year 24, they had 9 bids, 9.11 average assigned DBE goal, and they achieved 15.11%, 6% more. Also in federal fiscal year 24, they had 2 awarded projects, 9% average goal, and they achieved, wait for it, y'all, 20.98%. This is the MO for Super Western. Their MO is to, at bid, achieve the goal, and then they go well beyond it. They put the extra in extraordinary that Tim spoke of earlier. Thank you, Super Western, and congratulations. And our final Golden Shovel Award winner today is Tremel Anderson. They have worked in the truck and construction industry for well over 38 years and spent time helping others, other DBEs, in build their companies. Tremel has been awarded the largest DBE contract on the Mitchell Interchange and has exceeded contract amounts. They have mentored over 30 DBEs and assisted them with obtaining their own DBE certification. They have shared large contracts with other DBEs as well to help those DBEs further their businesses. And so with that, we would like to thank you, Tremel. Thank you for your support of DBE firms. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Congratulations.
Oh, I'm so happy.
All right. So please join me once again in congratulating all of today's recipients. Their contributions are not only inspiring, but essential to advancing our mission and creating a brighter future for disadvantaged businesses across Wisconsin. Thank you for your leadership and commitment. Thank you.
All righty, good people. Give another round of applause to all the award winners for all of their work, dedication, blood, sweat, and tears. Also, for all of the award winners, I've just been instructed by the Rosalind Robertson. Want you all to gather over to my right, your left, for a group photo. All the award winners. If you walked away with some hardware, you can come up one more time and gather to my right, your left, for this group photo. Come on now, don't be shy. You got the hardware. Come on up. Come on up. She wants to do it right now, and I'm going to go ahead and introduce our next speaker so we can keep the party going. But if you have won an award, come on back over to my right, your left. My red shirt friend is waving you on over. And now, as they are taking care of that bit of paparazzi, it is truly my pleasure to introduce our next speaker. Last year, he came and just electrified the room because we all thought we knew a little bit more than what we did. So sometimes you don't know what you don't know. That being said, it is my honor and privilege to introduce our keynote speaker, the Judge Derek Mosley of Marquette University Law School. Judge Mosley is a dynamic and highly sought-after speaker known for his engaging presentations on unconscious bias and his profound effects on decision-making and relationships. He gave us so much content last year, you all, that everybody in the room was left saying, man, is there more? And he said, yes, there is. I just don't have time. So if you all invite me back again, I might come and give you the part 2. And guess what, folks? We are in luck. He's here again. So welcome to the stage, the one, the only, Judge Derek Mosley, as he comes.
District Attorney in Milwaukee County for about 8 years. And I came here last year and gave you a lecture about unconscious bias. I didn't get a chance to finish, so they're allowing me to finish that lecture, but I want to give us just a little refresher before we get started. We're going to be talking about from the time that we're small to the time of the age we're at right now, that we're constantly being bombarded by information. And this information comes from a number of sources, comes from friends, family, newspapers, blogs, podcasts, you name it. But this information has had an effect on us, and we really didn't even know that information was having an effect on us. So when we talk about unconscious bias, what is an unconscious bias? An unconscious bias is a preference for or against a person or a group of people. It happens at a subconscious level that we don't even know that we have them. And in my opinion, the most important part of the definition is that they run contrary to our stated beliefs and attitudes. So a preference for or against a person or group of people happens at a subconscious level that we don't even know that we have them, and then run contrary to our stated beliefs and attitudes. Everybody with me? Okay. I want to take just a little jaunt for you into the human brain. The human brain takes in 11 million bits of information each minute, but we are only consciously aware of 40 bits of that information. Now put that in perspective. 11 million bits, but we're only consciously aware of 40. And since we can't process that much information, our brain has to take mental shortcuts. But to give you an example of this, while I'm talking to you right now and you hear these words that are coming out of my mouth, that's part of the 40 bits of information that you are consciously aware of. But while I'm talking to you, your brain's doing all these other things that you may not be aware of. It's looking at the screen. It's wondering what I'm wearing. It's wondering, why is he so damn good looking, right? And so all these things are happening while I'm talking to you that you're not even aware of. And since we can't process that much information, our brain takes mental shortcuts. And our brains take these mental shortcuts to save us time and energy. So, for an example, I'm just going to have you guys read what's on the screen to give you an example of what a mental shortcut is. Here we go. All right, hopefully you had an opportunity to read what's on this screen. What the science tells me is that the vast majority of you here in this room were able to read this slide with relative ease. If that's the case, please raise your hands. Wow, that's pretty remarkable, because on this slide there are 75 words, but there are technically only 25 real words. And despite the fact there's only 25 real words, you were able to read what was on this screen with relative ease. Why? Because your brain took a mental shortcut. The second sentence, the second word in this paragraph, CDNOULT, that is not a word. But your brain has seen the C, seen the T, and seen those letters in between before, not necessarily in that order, and lets you know that was the word couldn't. That's the mental shortcut. It saved you time. No one got to that second word and was like, remember those word jumbles as a kid you did? No one got there and was like, oh, move the O, move the U. No one did that. You didn't have to do that because your brain took that mental shortcut for you. All right? Everybody understand? Perfect. I'm going to put up another slide. First of all, did everybody understand? I got to hear you. I'm a judge. Did everybody understand? Yes. All right, thanks. I appreciate it. All right, so I'm going to put up another slide. The slide I'm going to put up now is way easier than this slide. It's just 3 sentences. Just read the 3 sentences for me. All right, by now you had an opportunity to read those 3 sentences. And what the science tells me is that the vast majority of you in this room read this slide incorrectly. If you did, please raise your hands. If you're not raising your hands, you're lying to me. The first sentence, do love you me. That is not a sentence. I heard some, oh, yeah, you read it wrong. Do love you me, right? But your brain had seen that sentence before and those words before in that order. So what your brain did is actually flip those words for you, and you read it as do you love me. The second sentence, you that read wrong. Your brain has seen those words together in a sentence before, and unbeknownst to you, your brain literally flipped it. Can you hear? Hello, can you hear me? Hear me? Oh, great. All right, so your brain actually flipped those words and you read it as you read that wrong. And then the science tells me the vast majority of you realized you read the first 2 sentences wrong when you read that 3rd sentence. If that happened to you, good. But I use this as an example. I told you your brain takes in 11 million bits of information each minute. We're only consciously aware of 40. And since we can't process that much information, our brain takes mental shortcuts. Mental shortcuts can be good, to have you read a paragraph that isn't made up of real words. And mental shortcuts can be bad, to have you misread this slide as you did here today. Okay? Everybody with me? Perfect. Now, all these things that happen in our lives have an effect on us. And there's a test. The test is called the implicit association test. And that test, if you haven't taken it, please take it. You can just Google Harvard University implicit association test. And this test actually tests your subconscious brain. And it does it by testing how quickly you respond and how accurately you respond to stimuli. Now, what we know about that implicit association test is of the 5 million people who have taken that test, 83% of white people who take this test come back with an unconscious bias against black people, 83%. But what we also know about this test is that 70% of black people who take this test also come back with an unconscious bias against other black people. Why is that? Well, I told you when we started, from the time you were small to the time you're the age you are right now, you are constantly being bombarded by this information. And this information is having an effect on you. And I'm going to tell you up front, you didn't stand a chance, because things are happening in our lives that we aren't aware of that are affecting us every day. I'm going to give you an example of what I mean. I'm going to give you some clues. You yell out the answer if you know the answer, all right? I'm going to give you half the answer. Half the answer is black. So here's the first clue. I'm thinking of an animal that some of you might have as a pet. If it crosses your path, it's bad luck. Cat, right? A black cat. A black cat representing bad luck. All right, you got it. Here's another one. Some of you might have this person in your family. My sister says it's me. We're not like everybody else. The what? Yeah, the black sheep. The black sheep of the family. Now, my sister's wrong, but yes, the black sheep of the family. Not quite like everybody else. And things like this have been happening to us our whole lives, and we haven't even known it's been happening. Things that we are, objects and words that we use are having an effect on our consciousness, our subconsciousness. Why I told you 83% of whites come back with unconscious bias against blacks, 70% of blacks, because we've been bombarded with this information our whole lives. Now, historically speaking, in movies, what color does the good guy wear in movies? White, right? Here I have Star Wars. I didn't really mean to use Star Wars. I always tell people this. I give this lecture to middle school students all the way up to octogenarians, and for some reason, Star Wars crosses all those generations. I have no idea why. So I use Star Wars. If the good guy wears white, what color does the bad guy wear? Black, right? Darth Vader, Darth Maul, the whole damn Sith, right? They all wear black. Now, in America, what color do brides wear? White, right? What does white mean? What does the white mean? Anybody know why they wear white? Purity, innocence, right? Conversely, what do you wear at funerals? Black, right? Death, despair, sorrow, moroseness, all associated with the color black. Now, I have some more. Just yell them out if you know them. Here's one right here. This is a place where you buy things, not eggs, milk, and cheese, but other people's kidneys. Yes, the black market. The black market. Hold on a second. Hold on. I feel pretty comfortable using that one. I had a kidney transplant, so I feel pretty good about using it. I did not get it from the black market, but I feel pretty good about using it. In the 1950s, a group of actors and actresses that everybody thought were communists. And because they were communists, they can get no work in Hollywood. What was going on with them? Yeah, they're being blackballed or blacklisted. Absolutely. The next one, if it wasn't for bad luck, this person would have no luck at all. In fact, they're often represented with this thing hanging over their head. A black cloud hanging over their head. I'm not talking about card tricks or pulling rabbits out of a hat. I'm talking about Ouija boards and seances. Black magic, right? Things that are evil. Now, this next one, This next one could just be me, and it could just be me. But to me, if you tell me it's a plague, I get it, man. I need no other descriptor, right? It's bad, right? But we don't say it's just a plague. What do we say? Yeah, it's the black plague or black death, right? When I was in school, my mom said, pay attention, do your homework, don't get in any trouble. Because you don't want this on your permanent record. Black mark, right? Nobody wants a black mark on their permanent record. If I know something about you, but you don't want me to tell anybody, I say, if you pay me, I won't tell anybody what I just do to you. Blackmailed you, right? By the way, don't do that one. That's a felony. Don't do that one. Don't do that one. This one, how about this one? And this one could just be me, and it legitimately could just be me. But to me, driving on ice is dangerous enough, right? Well, we don't say that. What do we say? Woo, that's black ice. That ice will kill you, right? So from the time we are small to the time of the age we are right now, we are constantly being bombarded by this type of material. 11 million bits. We're only consciously aware of 40. The rest doesn't just dissipate. It gets logged away in our subconscious brain, which we access in the form of mental shortcuts. And mental shortcuts can be good, and mental shortcuts can be bad, okay? Now, we do this at homework assignments. Here's my oldest daughter's homework assignment when she was in elementary school. Look at this, right? You have 4 kids on a sheet of paper, right? 2 white kids, 2 black kids. White kids, happy and proud. The black kids, sad and angry. Now, on its face, it might not have any effect on you, but subconsciously, our brain processes all of this material. Remember, we take in 11 million bits. We're only consciously aware of 40. The brain, though, processes all that information. Heard this story before? Anybody want to tell me why this duckling is ugly? I said someone said it here, right? No, swans ain't ugly. Why is that duckling? Why is it ugly? Tell me why it's ugly. Thank you, right? And depending on which version of the story you read, this duckling is either black or brown. Now, this story was written by Hans Christian Andersen. And if there's any Danes in the house, I apologize, but your man was a little sick. And I'm going to tell you what I mean. I'm going to relay this story to you. I will not fabricate it in any bit. All these ducklings are born. They're all yellow, except for one, right? And that duckling, depending on the version of the story you read, is either black or brown. But because that duckling is black or brown, all the other ducklings bully and harass this duckling so badly that he runs away. And he hides in a cave for months. This is a children's story, by the way. Until one day he decides he's going to kill himself. It's in the story. Here's how Hans puts it. He was so overcome with loneliness and despair that he was going to go out to the lake and drown himself. It's in the book, right? I told you, Hans is a little sick, right? But that's what the duckling does. He leaves the cave, he goes out to the lake, he's about to jump in, but when he looks down, he sees his reflection. And when he sees his reflection, he's no longer black or brown. What color is he? He's white, right? He's a swan, right? But here's the part of the story. Those ducklings who bullied and harassed them, once they see him now, they all come swimming over to him. And the first thing they say, "You are so beautiful." Think about this. We tell this story to children. You want to know why 83% of whites come back with an unconscious bias against blacks and 70% of blacks do? Because we have been inundated with this type of material our whole entire lives. And the group that's probably the worst at it is Disney, right? Because Disney has this really hard job, right? Disney has to convey images and concepts to 7-year-olds. It's not easy. So what does Disney do? Disney uses color. Here's a very recent Disney movie. The movie's Maleficent. Disney's quite sure that that 7-year-old has no idea what the word Maleficent means. And I will tell you, I had no idea what the word Maleficent meant. So I looked it up. What does it mean? Maleficent means you're able to do things and influence people with the use of black magic. That's what Maleficent means, right? So Disney knows this, but has to convey to this child who doesn't know this. So how do they do that? They do it with the use of color. That's why she has the black robe and these black horns, right? Because they have to make sure that 7-year-old knows that this character is bad. Now here's a side note on this story. I don't know if any people in the room have seen this movie, but if you have, there's a scene, oh, by the way, that's Angelina Jolie. And in the movie, there's a scene where Angelina Jolie, dressed just like this, walks into the room, she goes over to her baby crib, bends over, picks up a baby, right? And then while she's looking at the baby, you hear this voiceover of what's gonna happen in this baby's life kind of thing, right? That's what you see in the movie. But they go and film this movie. Angelina Jolie walks in, she's dressed like that, she goes over to the baby, to the crib, picks up the baby sees her and freaks out, starts crying. Director's like, cut, bring in another baby. So they bring in another baby. Angelina Jolie walks in, she goes over to the crib, she bends over, picks up the baby sees her, freaks out. Cut! Bring in another baby. They do this 3 times until Angelina Jolie says, you know what? I'm gonna bring in my own baby. And she does. She brings in her own kid. And so they shoot the scene. Angelina Jolie walks in, goes over to the crib, picks up the baby sees its mom, baby doesn't cry. That's the scene you see in the movie. Now I tell you this for 2 reasons. 1, how all those babies reacted when they saw her, but 2, when you watch that movie again, look at that baby. That's the biggest baby ever seen in my life. Look at that baby. No, because it wasn't a baby. It was actually Angelina Jolie's kid. That they tried to watch it again. You'd be like, damn, that's a big old baby. Look at that. True story, right? That's a relatively new Disney movie. I'm going to give you the very first Disney movie ever and ask you, do you know this woman? You remember her, right? She looks that way for a reason. She has the black robe for a reason and the black bushy eyebrows. She lives in the Black Forest, right? But Disney did this on purpose because they have to make sure that 7-year-old says, I am not eating an apple from that woman, right? They have to make sure that baby says that 7-year-old says that, right? Side note, who does she give this apple to? Snow White. They literally put it in her name, right? When I tell you you didn't stand a chance, you didn't stand a chance. You want to know why 83% of whites come back with an unconscious bias against blacks and 70% of blacks do? Because we've been inundated with this stuff our whole lives and had no idea it was happening to us. No idea. Oh, ha ha! My favorite Disney movie ever, right? On one side, you have Simba. Simba has the same color mane as every other lion in The Lion King, except for one. And that mane doesn't look like Simba's. Scar's mane is black. Scar's nose is black because Disney has to make sure that 7-year-old says, Simba, I know that's your uncle, but he's bad. This happens to us our whole lives. From here to here, it's been happening to us our whole lives. Now, I'm going to show you a cartoon that everybody in this room has seen. You watched it as a kid, you may have watched it with your kids, maybe even watched it with grandkids, right? But you're going to see it in a different way than you've ever seen it because I've been talking to you for the time I've been talking to you. I'm going to ask you, do you know these kids? Right? Hey, of course you do. That's the Peanuts gang, right? Charlie Brown, everybody knows the Peanuts gang. It's a Thanksgiving special, comes on every year. Closest to us, we have one member of the Peanuts gang. Farthest from us, on the other end of the table, another member of the Peanuts gang. On one side of the table, we have 4 members of the Peanuts gang, 3 people and 1 dog, Snoopy. On the other side of the table, we have 1 character. Anybody know that character's name? Franklin, absolutely. Now here's the quick story about Franklin, real quick. It's the 1960s, 67, I believe. And there's a teacher in Brooklyn, New York. And she shows this cartoon to all of her kids. They watch the Peanuts gang. And one day she decided to sit down and write a letter to Charles Schulz. Charles Schulz is the creator of the Peanuts gang. She says, Dear Mr. Schulz, I'm a teacher in Brooklyn, New York. I have kids, black kids, white kids in my class. I was just wondering, because it's the 60s and the civil rights movement and Martin Luther King, I was just wondering, did you ever think about adding a black character? I just think it would be great if you added a black character so that the black kids in my class could feel like they're part of the Peanuts gang. Mail it, send it to Schultz. Schultz gets it, opens it, reads it, and says, yeah, she's absolutely right. Schultz goes to the network and says, hey, guess what? I'm going to add a new character to the Peanuts gang. Network's like, woohoo, that's great. I'm going to add him to the Thanksgiving special. Oh, brilliant, that's great. His name is Franklin. Brilliant. And he's black. Oh, wait a minute. Why would you do this? Why would you do this and rock the boat? Everybody loves the Peanuts gang. Schultz says it's 1960s. Civil rights movement. Martin Luther King. We need a black character so that black kids watching can feel like they're part of the Peanuts gang. Network says no. Schultz says, fine, I'll go to another network. Now, just so you know how profound that statement was, prior to the Super Bowl, because once the Super Bowl came, it kind of blew everything away. Prior to the Super Bowl, the most expensive advertisement buy on TV was during this cartoon. Why? Because this cartoon came on at Thanksgiving. And which holiday comes after Thanksgiving? Thank you. Thank you. I gave this lecture, I said to middle school students, I did it a month ago, and I'm like, which holiday comes after Thanksgiving? They're all like, Black Friday! I'm like, it's not a holiday, right? But right, you're absolutely right, right? Christmas, right? So if you had G.I. Joe or the Cabbage Patch Kids or all these things, you wanted to show it during this cartoon because kids were watching it, and parents were watching it, and most importantly, grandparents were watching it, right? So when Schultz says he's going to go to another network, that meant money. And because that meant money, the network acquiesced, and he got to add Franklin. Now, despite the fact he was adamant Franklin be added, despite the fact he was willing to leave the network if Franklin wasn't added, he still drew it like this. Remember, I started with the definition of unconscious bias. A preference for or against a person or group of people happens at a subconscious level that we don't know that we have it. Third, runs contrary to our stated beliefs and attitudes. He wanted to add Franklin. He wanted to be more inclusive, but still drew it like this. Now, I didn't catch this, but my youngest daughter caught this, and she said, Dad, it looks like everybody's seated in a chair that you would put out for Thanksgiving. Everybody but Franklin, right? You got an aluminum chair closest to us. We got wooden chairs all around the table. Franklin's in a beach chair, right? What's to sit in a beach chair, right? I won't dwell on that. Another group that's really bad at this is the media, right? So here you got a sports utility vehicle. You have the caution tape around it. You have a headline, police arrest burglary suspect, right? So the editor of this newspaper has dedicated 90% of this page to the story the editor wanted you to know most. Police arrest burglary suspect. Good. I'm glad they got him. Until, of course, you read the rest of this page. Top left-hand corner, 19-year-old arrested for Tuesday's homicide. Now, I told you, used to be a judge, used to be a prosecutor. If you didn't know, homicide is just a little bit more serious than burglary, right? And if that wasn't bad enough, look at the bottom left-hand corner. Deputy, ex-constable, killed in the line of duty. Now, despite the fact that you had a law enforcement officer killed in the line of duty, a teenager who's committed a homicide, the editor of this newspaper wants you to know that guy right there. Now, on its face, it might not have any effect on you, but subconsciously our brain processes all of this material. Now, I'm going to show you a web page, same date, same charge, same web page, but it's going to be told just a little bit differently. Here it is. Channel 9, ABC News, Iowa City, Iowa. Left-hand side, 3, University of Iowa wrestlers arrested, burglary charges pending. And then they have the picture of the 3 individuals who committed the burglary, right? Hair's combed, they're in suits and ties, right? Same date, Same web page, same charge, right-hand side of the page. Coralville. Coralville police arrest 4 in burglary investigation. Then they have the picture of the 4 individuals who committed the burglary, right? Hair's not combed, they're not in suits and ties. They're being represented in mugshot photos. So let's take you back to the left-hand side of that page. If you've been arrested for burglary, do you know what you automatically get as soon as you are arrested for burglary? Anybody know? You get a mugshot, right? And despite the fact there was a mugshot for the 3 individuals on the left side of the screen, the editor of this web page chooses not to use their mugshots, but make sure you see the mugshots on the guys on the right-hand side of the page. Let me tell you why this is important. I used to be a prosecutor. When you're hey, what's up, my man? When you're a prosecutor and if you have the ability to hand a mugshot photo of the defendant to the jury, it was gold, right? Because we knew the day of the trial, the defendant's in a suit and tie, his hair's combed, looks good. But I'm gonna show you what he looked like the day of the offense, right? We did it all the time. I used to come into work and they'd be like, hey, you know you got a trial today? I'm like, I do? Like, yeah. You need anything? Yeah, I need his mugshot photo. Because they did a study. Study says, on all of us, by the way, the study was done on all of us. If we are shown a mugshot photo, it is human nature for us to take that person in the photo down 1 notch. We all do it. And that counts even if they're the defendant or the victim, down 1 notch, right? Why does that happen? Because we say, I don't have a mugshot photo. They ain't just giving away mugshot photos. You got to earn a mugshot photo, right? And so the United States Supreme Court says, you know what? Prosecutors, you can't show mugshot photos anymore because they're highly prejudicial, so we can't do it. Applies to courts, does not apply to the media. And the media does this all the time. Here's one from CNN. You first look at this, you're like, man, I wonder what this guy did. Till you read the headline. University of Cincinnati officer indicted for murder. Prosecutor says campus cop purposely killed driver. My question, if you've been indicted for murder, do you know what you automatically get? A mugshot, right? And not only do they not use the mugshot for the officer, they put him in his uniform with a gold badge on his chest, gold badge on his hat, put him in front of the American flag. And the guy who was purposely killed, give me his mugshot photo, right? On its face, it might not have any effect on you, but our brain is processing all this material. So I want to gosh, forgot about this. Anybody know what this is? Band-Aid, absolutely. But it's got distinct names. Anybody know the names? Flesh, naked, skin tone, right? Why would you want a flesh, naked, skin tone Band-Aid? Why do you need that? It hides all your stuff, right? Hides your cut, your scratch, right? Blends in, right? For 100 years, Band-Aid made one flesh-colored Band-Aid for 100 years, right? So I come in, I'm like, hey, I need a flesh-colored Band-Aid. They're like, there you go. I'm like, well, that's not really my flesh color. That's all we got, right? For 100 years. But what if that flesh-colored Band-Aid was my flesh color? And that's the only flesh-colored Band-Aid you could buy. Look how ridiculous this kid looks, right? But that's exactly what I look like with a flesh-colored Band-Aid, right? Flesh-colored Band-Aid. All this changed. It's just mind-blowing to me, but all this changed in 2020. In 2020, the Band-Aid folks said, you know what? There's different colored people. And since there's different colored people, we should probably come up with a Band-Aid that's reflective of all these different color Band-Aid people, right? If you don't think it makes a difference, this is me. It makes all the difference in the world, right? All this stuff has been happening to us our whole lives and didn't even know what was going on. So here's a commercial. Asian woman, black man. He has just finished painting her apartment. She's got the white paint on his face. He goes up to her and says, hey, I'm done with your apartment. Do you mind if I wash up? She says, you don't have to wash up. I'm going to give you a Tide Pod, put it in your mouth, and then we're going to put you inside the washing machine. And she does. Puts the Tide Pod in his mouth and stuffs this grown man into a washing machine. Runs the washing machine, and he comes out Asian. That's a real ad. That is a real ad. Real ad. Now, I'm gonna show you a 2019 ad for Dove. Same concept. It's gonna be a black woman. She puts on the Dove lotion. During the course of the commercial, she takes off her shirt. Look what happens when she takes off her shirt. She turns into a white woman. Real ad, 2019 Dove. Now, when I see this commercial, it makes me think, someone sat in a room, kind of like this, and I was like, I got an idea. What if we take this black woman, she puts on our lotion, and she turns white? How does this happen? How does this happen, right? All right, real quick, I want to introduce you to this woman. Her name's Dr. Diva Pager. Got her undergrad from the University of Wisconsin, got her master's from Stanford, got a doctorate from Northwestern. She's famous for experiments she did in 5 cities, Milwaukee, Chicago, New York, Boston, and Miami. In those 5 cities, they looked in the newspaper for jobs that claimed to be equal opportunity employers. They sent 2 resumes to each one of those jobs. They didn't change anything on the resumes. Same work history, same class rank, same education experience, all the same. The only thing they changed was the first name on the resumes. Names they used? One was Connor, a name most associated with white men. The other one is Jamal, a name most associated with black men. Results? Connor was 10 times more likely to get a callback interview than Jamal. 10 times. So they went to all those places, Milwaukee, Chicago, New York, Boston, Miami, asked to speak to the hiring partner, said, hey, why'd you hire Connor? They all said relatively the same thing. Connor was the most qualified. He had the work history, he had the class rank, he had all the things they were looking for. When confronted with the fact that Jamal had the same exact resume, they were shocked. Shocked. Remember that definition of unconscious bias? Preference for or against a person or group of people. Happens at a subconscious level that we don't know that we have them, finally runs contrary to our stated beliefs and attitudes. Right? So they said, okay, what about doctors? Let's ask doctors. So they give doctors the same thing, patient histories, Connor and Jamal, everything else the same. When doctors were shown patient histories and asked to make a judgment about heart disease, they were much less likely to recommend cardiac catheterization, which is a helpful procedure for their black patients, even when their medical files were statistically identical to white patients. Now, when the American Medical Association saw this, they freaked out. Why? Because every doctor swears an oath. It's called the Hippocratic Oath. It's only 3 words. Anybody know it? Do no harm. And what they realized is that their doctors were in fact doing harm. So they decided, let's do our own study and find out. So they did. And they found out, yeah, absolutely. Black and brown patients weren't given appropriate cardiac care. Secondly, they found out that black and brown patients were given long-term dialysis over transplants. Now that one's near and dear to my heart, 'cause I told you I had a kidney transplant, and I was on dialysis, and dialysis sucks. It's the worst thing I have ever done in my life. It is awful. It is awful. And when you go into dialysis, you go into a room that's a little bit smaller than this. Everybody gets their own lazy boy chair, you get your own machine, and there's one TV. Now, when I was doing dialysis, I was still a judge, so I was still on the bench, so I came before I had to go to court. And so you go in, you sit down, we're all sitting there doing dialysis, one TV, 40 people. So we all got to agree what to watch, right? And everybody wanted to watch Judge Judy. And I was like, kill me, right? And so while you're there, you're talking to people. So I start talking to people, and I talk to a guy next to me. I'm like, hey, when's your transplant date? He says, I don't have a transplant date. I mean, what do you mean you don't have a transplant date? He says, I'm a widower, and I don't have any family, and I like coming here because I like to see the pictures of your family and talking to you guys about what's going on in your lives. And I'm going to be 100% honest with you. He's right on that point, because you're with these people 3 times a week, 5 hours at a time. You're with them more than you're with your family. And people like share information, like way too much information. And so you sit there and you talk to people. And so I said to him, well, you can get a kidney transplant and still come back and visit us, right? It's not necessary you do dialysis. And I said, well, how long have you been on dialysis? He told me 22 years. 22 years. I was on it for 2 years and I couldn't take it anymore. 22 years. So I'm talking to my doctor. I'm at Freighter, and I'm talking to my doctor. And I was telling him this story, and he's got this like horrified look on his face. And I'm like, what's wrong? And he's like, you didn't ask him when his kidney transplant date is, did you? I'm like, yeah. You never asked that question. I'm like, why? He's like, because once you're on dialysis, the clock starts ticking. You get 10 years before you have to get off of dialysis, or you're no longer transplantable. Because dialysis damages your veins so badly they can't transplant you anymore. So she's like, when he said 22 years, he knew the drill. He knew he was never getting the kidney. And he was just telling you that for your benefit, right? So I can verify that one for a fact. The last one, black and brown patients weren't getting the best treatment for cancer, stroke, or HIV. So as a result of this study, all medical training institutions, the American Medical Association made it mandatory that all of their med students go through some type of unconscious bias training, right? So that they don't violate their oath. Cars, they sent Connor and Jamal to try to negotiate for cars. When blacks and whites were sent to negotiate for a car, blacks were offered prices $700 higher and were given far fewer concessions. Far fewer concessions. So I told you I had a kidney transplant. I got my kidney from my absolute best friend. But her and I are like total opposites. So you might not be aware of this, but as soon as you become a judge, when you get elected as a judge, they send you out to Nevada to the National Judicial College, where you learn how to like put on a robe and all this craziness, right? And so I'm in this room, and there's 200 different judges there, and everybody has to stand up and say where they're from. So I get up, I'm like, hey, my name's Derek, I'm a judge in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Sit down, right? Everybody keep going. This woman gets up. She's like, my name's Joanne, I'm a judge in Waukesha, Wisconsin. I'm like, whoa. Day's over. After it's over, I go up to her, I'm like, hey, you're from Waukesha, from Milwaukee? Hey, let's go get a drink. So we do. Start talking. Become really close friends from that moment on. Really close from that moment on. But her and I are like complete opposites. So when I found out my kidneys were bad, I actually went to appointment before I had court, go to court, my bailiff wraps me in, all rise, I get out, my phone goes off. I look at my phone, the prefix on my phone lets me know that it's Frederick Hospital. And I'm like, oh boy. So I go back and I said, pick up the phone. My doctor's like, you need to come back now. Said, your kidneys are functioning at 8%. And if you don't come back and get fitted for a fistula so we can start dialysis, you are going to die. That's exactly how he said it. And so I, of course, I'm like, okay, I'm on my way. Get in the car, start driving back to the hospital. I call, oh, let me show you her. This is her and me. So I call her up. And I said, Joanne, I got terrible news. Just heard from the doctor. Doctor says my kidneys aren't working properly. If I don't get a transplant, I'm going to die. Before I get all that out, she says, oh, you can have my kidney. Just like that. Like I was borrowing sugar or something, right? And I was like, this is an honest truth. I was like, Joanne, you are the sweetest person I know, but there's no way your little kidney is going to work in me, right? And I was just like, you know, she's like, well, what choice do you have? I'm like, well, I mean, come on, black, white, male, female, I'm a big guy, you're real little. This isn't going to work. She's like, well, let me just get worked up, see if I'm a match, and we'll go from there. She gets worked up, comes back a perfect match. Perfect match. Here's how perfect. She has 2 kids. She couldn't donate to either of her 2 kids because they share her husband's blood type. She shares my blood type. So she could donate to me. So I don't think it's going to work. So normally when you do surgery, you wake up and like families like on their phones somewhere, you know. The doctor was like standing over me when I woke up. So I freaked out. I'm like, it didn't work, right? He's like, no, it worked. I'm like, oh, wow. I'm like, doc, how does this work? Black, white, male, female, I'm a big guy, she's little. How does this work? He said something to me I will never forget. He said, I had your kidney in one hand, and I had her kidney in the other hand, and I couldn't tell them apart. I was like, damn, man. But you did tell them apart, right? I wanted to make sure we got that part straight, right? I want to make sure we got that part straight. So I tell you this story because her and I replicated that car thing. Now, you may not know this, but if you're a judge in Milwaukee or you're a judge in Superior, Wisconsin, you make the same amount of money. Don't get me started on that. And so we figured we make the same amount of money, we had good credit, blah, blah, blah. So I went in first, negotiated for a car, got a good price, left. Wait a week, send her in. same person I talked to, she beat me at 3 separate dealerships in the Milwaukee area. This is the honest to God truth story I'm gonna tell you right now. She beat me so badly, she has bought my last 2 cars. That's the honest to God truth, honest to God truth. I actually ride with her to the dealership, I stay in the car, she goes in, negotiates, as soon as she gets the price, she texts me, and I just walk in like, ta-da! The sign on it, that's the honest to God truth, true story, true story. Airbnb, same thing. If you have a name, a black sounding name, you ain't getting that place. In fact, if you are on X, formerly Twitter, there's a handle, Airbnb while black, check that out. Whew, that's the doozy, doozy. Legislature, same thing. If you send an email to your legislature and you have a black sounding name, you are not getting a response back. This is true of both political parties, both political parties. Which brings me to the end. What can we do to mitigate our own biases? Before we do this, I need you all to do me a favor. I need you all to think of the 3 most trusted people in your lives, okay? Think of the 3 most trusted people in your lives. Only catch, they can't be family, okay? Yeah, I know, I don't trust anybody. All right, so the 3 most trusted people in your lives, and they can't be family. Think of those people for me, please. I'll give you a little bit to do that. Oh, and they can't be Jesus. I had that too. No Jesus. You can't add Jesus. While you're thinking about it, I'm going to keep going. What can we do to mitigate our own biases? First, that's what I came here for. Try to make you aware of what's happening to you your whole life. From here to here, you've been bombarded with this information, okay? Just to make you aware of it. Secondly, if you haven't taken the implicit association test, take the test. Just Google Harvard University, implicit association test, take the race test, and then see how you do. That's the first thing. Second, don't be colorblind. Right? That's like the term I heard the most growing up as a kid. Oh, I don't see color, I'm colorblind. Well, I'm a judge, right? And when you tell me you're colorblind, it makes me nervous because I know our entire traffic system is based on color, right? So our red means stop and green means go, right? You see color, and so it's okay to see color. What's important is that we recognize and appreciate our differences. Here's the beautiful part about living here. Beautiful part about it. Because unless you're First Nation, Native, Indigenous, because it doesn't apply to them, but all the rest of us, we got here one of 2 ways. We were either brought here or we immigrated here, period. That's how we got here. There's no other 2 ways you got here. And when your people got here, they brought their food, their religion, their culture, their dance, they brought all that stuff. And instead of us embracing this as this nation of immigrants, right? Instead, we said, we're a melting pot. And we're going to melt all that away. We're going to be one homogeneous society. But here's the problem with that. We're all from different parts of the globe, so we look differently. So it's hard to say we're going to be all one homogeneous society because we look different. So it's important for us to recognize and appreciate the differences. You got your list of 3 people? Do me a favor. Put a check mark, mental check mark, by the person who shares the same race as you. Person or people. Next, put a check mark by the person or people who share the same gender as you. Okay? Person or people. Next, put a check mark by the person who speaks the same language as you. First language. First language. Okay? Next, put a check mark by the person who shares the same ability level as you. If you're able-bodied, they're able-bodied, check. But if you're able-bodied, they're disabled, you can't check them, or vice versa. Okay? Now, I never ask anybody who's on their list or how many people they checked, because I don't have to. Because they did a study on people from Wisconsin. And the study said, if I ask people from Wisconsin those questions I asked you right now, there's a good likelihood that 2, if not all 3, of the people on your list look just like you. And if that's the case, it brings me to my next way to mitigate. Be aware of the makeup of your social networks. Try to engage in positive interactions with people who look different from you. If you don't do that, we have another form of bias that happens. My man, me and you. I say something to you. You say, I agree. I'm like, you agree? I agree? Pfft, we must be right. We can both be wrong, right? But we call this confirmation bias. I say something, he agrees with it. He's confirmed how I feel. I've confirmed how he feels, so we feel we're right. This only happens when you're in environments of people who are just like you. Only happens that way. And the problem with our society now is that social media actually only puts us with people who think like us, look like us, talk like us. And so we think we're always right because we don't have the other point of view. So be aware of the makeup of your social networks. Next, all this takes eternal motivation and habitual practice. That's how we got here. It's been inundated in us. It's like ingrained in us. Here's how ingrained it is. I'm gonna say something to you. I need everybody out loud to say the first thing that comes in your mind. You ready? Macaroni and cheese. I don't know how many people are in this room, but you all said cheese. All of you. You're all separate people, but everybody said cheese. Why? Because from the time you were here to here, we've been inundated with macaroni and cheese. And so those two things go in together. So that's the first thing that pops in our mind. It's the same with unconscious bias. The difference is we don't eat it, so we don't think about it as much, but it's happening to us all the time. Next, please reflect before you make decisions. Think about what you do, right? Before you make any decisions, hiring, firing, promoting, demoting, whatever. Think about what you do. I'm gonna give you an example of this one. Marquette sends me all over the country to give this speech. In fact, sometimes I think they're trying to kill me because they put me into places that I'm like, oh God, right? I got flown out to a oil rig. Have you ever been on one of those? I got flown out there on a helicopter, dropped me off, and just me and a bunch of oil workers giving this speech. I'm like, I'm gonna die here, right? And so, but you know, I didn't like freak out because I knew I was gonna fly back, get on a plane, fly into Milwaukee, and be like, whoo, black people, right? So I didn't freak out, but I went to Iceland, and Iceland is amazing. If you haven't been to Iceland, please, please, please go to Iceland. It's amazing. But I was in Iceland for 5 days. I didn't see another black person 5 days. So that's the first time in my life I literally freaked out. Because I'm thinking, if there's no black people here, where do they get their image of black people from? If it's movies and TV, I'm screwed, right? So when you go to Iceland, do this thing. It's called the Circle Tour. You take a bus ride, you go around the entire country. Smaller than Wisconsin. It's tiny, small country, right? And I talk about Iceland like it's Minnesota, in the sense that I say, Minnesota's 10,000 lakes, Iceland's like 10,000 waterfalls, right? And when you take this tour, the tour stops at all 10,000 waterfalls. And so I'm on the bus. After like the 5th waterfall, I don't get off the bus. I just stay on the bus. This woman's like walking, hey, you gonna come out? I'm like, it's a waterfall, right? Water runs over. I've seen it 5 times. I'm good. So I get up in the front of the bus and start talking to the bus driver. I said, hey, how are you? My name's Derek. Your name? He's like, my name's Thor. I'm like, your name's not Thor. You think I'm stupid? Shows me his license. Thor. Yeah. So anyway, I'm talking to Thor. And while I'm talking to Thor, I'm talking like I'm talking to you. Thor is standing just like this. Just like that, right? I'm talking, and he's just like staring at me. So I'm like, Thor, are you okay? He's like, why would you say that? I'm like, well, I'm talking to you. You're not like acknowledging you understand. You're not shaking your head or anything. He's like, you must be from the United States. And I was like, what does that mean? He's like, well, in Iceland, we listen to learn. In the United States, you listen to respond. And it's so true. So true. You know, you said something. As soon as you said it, someone doesn't agree. You can see them like waiting for you to shut up so they can say something, right? But once you've said that, they've cut you off. Don't think of anything else you've said. So I'm asking you now to listen to learn. It's not easy. It's hard. You're going to want to jump in. Don't let them speak. Listen to learn. If you did a Google search prior to 2020 and you said beauty, images, search, this came up, right? All very beautiful. Not all that diverse. Ironically, all women. Apparently men can be beautiful. But anyway, you do a Google search now for beauty images, this comes up, right? More diverse, not only diverse by ethnicity, but also diverse by size, right? Because size is beautiful as well. Now, I am a girl dad. And so, because I'm a girl dad, I really hate beauty pageants. So I want to apologize to anybody in here who was like Miss Fond du Lac or something. I apologize. But I don't like beauty pageants. Here's why I don't like beauty pageants. Beauty pageants started in 1952. Women of color couldn't join them until 1973. Why? Because the rule said you had to be beautiful. And in 1952, women of color were not deemed to be beautiful. Right? Fast forward to 2022, all 5 crowns are held by women of color. So our image of beauty is changing. So things are changing, it's just slow. You can watch TV and see things are changing. I watch TV as black couple goes to the grocery store, Asian couple buys a car, a white couple goes to the bank, right? Now you watch commercials, it's like 2 guys go to this grocery store, black man, Asian woman go to the bank, right? It's more reflective of who we are as a society. They're changing so much. That's Miss Ireland. Legit. That is Miss Ireland, right? So things are changing. So I end on this. We take in 11 million bits of information each minute. We're only consciously aware of 40. Since we can't process this much information, our brain takes mental shortcuts. Mental shortcuts can be good, and mental shortcuts can be bad. I told you when I started, you didn't stand a chance, and that is the truth. You didn't. But now, we have to do something about it. And so I always end on this Maya Angelou quote, do the best you can until you know better. And as soon as you know better, we all have to do better, okay? So last thing, everybody put your hands out like this for me, please. All right? And to go like that, that's a hug from me to you. Thank you so much for your time.